Y'all suck that.
Hey! I think so.
Hey, welcome to Between Two Pastries. This is Nicole.
I'm Annie. What are we talking about today?
Well, today we are going to talk about what diet actually means. Can't help but laugh about that one.
Love that.
Yeah.
Or wait, should I do this one?
You could do that too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
This one's more
right.
fitting.
Yeah,
the word diet.
I know.
What is a diet?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. So a diet is basically really what you eat on a daily basis.
You mean that's it?
That's it. That's what having a diet means. So when people say like, oh, I think I need to go on a diet. Well, guess what? You already are on one because you eat every day.
Right. You need to sit on a chair, not go on a diet.
Yeah, that's right. However, there are many different styles in which people experiment with eating.
Okay, so I have a question. So, RD to RD, I was doing some of our credits for, certification, keep our RD going the other day. And so I was doing all this coursework on malnutrition. And I was reading some of the work and then taking the test. But I was reading that in the UK versus the US, the UK does not, when a person's admitted to the hospital, they don't actually use they don't have as many diets as we do. Like everyone, and I shouldn't say everyone, majority of people just go on a general diet.
Yeah.
And in the US, we are doing, like in healthcare, some of you may know, low sodium diet, 1 gram, 2 gram. We've got, dysphagia diets and soft diets and bland diets. And the UK is just put people, and they're seeing better results by just having everyone on basically a general diet.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. It'd be worth bringing up.
Eating normal food every day.
Yeah, that's what they're doing, and that's what they're seeing.
Figure.
Yeah, and for the malnourished population, they're combining, the general any and all food diet with, some tube feeding, and they're seeing malnutrition results going down significantly. Versus here, we're seeing longer stays, malnutrition is continuing. But I want to raise the point: are we in the U.S. seeing more malnutrition because of all the dieting that people are doing?
Yeah, and I think that can be totally and completely true. So case in point would be the individual who, it has basically dieted them down to losing their menstrual cycle, to becoming super sick, and super, super thin, and thinking that they're eating healthy. Right?
We need to shrink everyone. That's the mentality, I think.
Right? And so I guess we'll probably be talking a little bit more about that at some point, but that, that's sort of the new thing is kind of the orthorexia thing, meaning that people are focused on whatever they consider healthy and then going overboard with it, or being afraid to eat outside of those parameters. Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of rules involved with any and all diets. I mean, we can start listing diets we've got hospital diets, which are actually real life things that need to be prescribed to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have what I consider medium diets, like the in-between, your Mediterranean diet, right?
Yeah.
DASH diet.
Yeah.
So that'd be like for your cardiac patients, stuff or not even patients, but just people with cardiac issues. What would you also throw in that, acceptable, not a hospital diet, not a fad diet world, What do you throw in there?
Probably just balanced eating. I don't like phrases and terms and words and combinations.
Words suck.
I hate labels, basically.
Yeah.
I'm just not a label person. But I mean, those are kind of if we're talking about them, those would be sort of your healthier concepts of it. However,
acceptable
things. But I think I also still dislike so very much when we still say oh, I'm interested in going on the Mediterranean diet. Well,
you're not looking at it right.
It's not actually a diet.
No.
It's let's just look at how you're currently eating and how can we make that just more balanced or more into that.
Right.
Because I think that when someone simply just says they want to, let's say, go on the Mediterranean diet, they're already setting it up for themselves in their head that they have to follow something specifically, super, super specific and
no McDonald's.
restricted and to just eat.
to eat all the food.
But to eat in a way that your body says, you know what, this feels actually really good to me.
Yeah.
Now, I agree. A lot of people I think that there needs to be a lot of education about, like, some people are really just don't understand certain things, and that's totally fine. But, you know, and want to learn, like, hey, I don't think I'm really eating that well. Like, what would, you know, help me eat better? You know what I mean? Well, yeah, sure. Then we're going to try to balance that out a little bit. But,
so I guess the question is, why do people who feel like they're not eating well, or, you know, anything in that realm of not feeling good about themselves, which is, obviously there's lots of layers with that, but why do people then go to keto, Atkins, plant-based, orthorexia tendencies, Mediterranean diet? Why do they just steer right to a diet and go towards, you know, social media, magazine, living versus listening to you or I as a dietitian saying, oh, balance, moderation, you can have the donut, you know, you can have bacon, you can have fruits and veggies, you can have steak and oatmeal and plant-based and beans and... Yeah, what is that?
I think so much of it, though, is, again, it's kind of this black and white way of thinking.
Right.
So it's like, it's easier for them to go, I know then that I only can eat these 3 things, and now I don't have to think about anything. It keeps me safe. People think about, like, a quick result, or a close friend of theirs did X, and so therefore they should too.
Right.
And we're still not taking care of ourselves.
Right. We're not amoebas either. Like, we are not our friends. We are not each other. Just because someone does one thing doesn't mean it's a good idea for you to do it.
Right. Yeah, like, exactly. Right. It's kind of the whole thing, like, you know,
jumping
the whole
off a cliff.
Jump off the cliff thing, you know? Yeah.
But it's 100% like, follow the crowd. And so what I was going to say is, I always try to equate it or try to explain it like, think about, like, when you're reading a book and you're, like, waiting for that thing to happen. And people are just, that's what I think of in the nutrition world. Like, we're waiting for the right answer to hit us. So we just keep reaching into the air for different things. We keep reaching for the climax. We keep trying to find it. And so we grab onto something and we try that. It doesn't work, so we let it go, and we try and we grab onto the next thing. When right in the center of everything is balance and moderation. Right. And we don't want to accept it.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. But also, I think that's why there's so much disordered eating, too. Like, there's so much people don't have trust within themselves to make their own decisions.
There's too much misinformation out there.
You know, so again, instead of, like, self-regulating and being like, hey, wait, does this actually make sense for me? Like, I know I'm doing this right now, but how am I feeling when I'm done? Or how do I feel, you know, instead of getting in tune with that?
Do you know what breaks my heart is when I have a high schooler, like, again, not a patient, not an eating disorder person, just a high school age person ask me, like, so should I be taking apple cider vinegar? And it breaks my heart that that's still a thing.
Yeah, right.
And number 2, you're like 15.
I know.
Already concerned about diets. When you're in a growing body and all you're just flooded with diet. Like I said, diet in the word diet is the word die. But really, like, diets are really not the way to go. And so now let's say, but Nicole, what about a plant-based diet? That's healthy. And vegetarianism and veganism and, you know, like, people are truly convinced that diets are wellness, are health. Mm-hmm. Okay, now how do we combat that? Are they? Mm-hmm. Are they not? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I think people take it too far. Yeah. A plant-based diet, a vegetarian diet, a vegan diet, those were all things that, and I use those because those are really popular right now, but those were things that were developed really from an ethical standpoint, religious standpoint, sometimes a gut standpoint.
Sure.
We're using these things medically. And now it got into the media, or it, you know, we kind of follow this train of, well, you're doing that, I'll do that.
Right.
And now people, oh, I'm plant-based. Well, that's wonderful. Why are you saying it like that?
Right.
Like, and it truly, though, people, like, put their nose up if you eat meat or you don't eat meat, or you eat carbs or you don't eat carbs, or you eat this or that. And it's like, why am I being judged for whatever? But really, people put their nose at me for saying balance and moderation, which is really hard because it works every time.
Of course.
Every time.
Right.
Like, you don't need to spend any money.
Right. Right.
To just literally balance in moderation.
Right. But there's nothing shocking about it either.
No, there's no climax. to moderation.
I know.
Can have the donuts.
I know.
There's no being able to say, well, I don't eat donuts.
Right.
Why would you want that?
I know.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, it does sound awful.
All right, soapbox.
Yeah.
Check.
Done.
Right? What other diets that, general information should we tell people? There's a lot. We're going to cover quite a few, I feel like.
Yeah, we're going to cover a lot kind of individually because
there's a lot out there.
There's a lot out there, and I think it's also important for people to kind of really understand piece by piece why they're there and what have you. Again, we're kind of just looking at
general
in general, but also really just helping to promote just more balance with people.
Yeah, balance, man. It's I got an email the other day from someone who's like, yeah, I really want to work with you, learn how to fuel, and I want to learn what foods, I want to eat the foods that don't make me gain weight.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah,
food doesn't make you do
exactly.
anything, but we've created a culture and a diet culture that has created food as this enemy that you look at cake and now you've put on 5 pounds. And
right.
That's not true.
Right.
Food is beautiful. I mean, decorate a cake. It's the funnest thing in the entire world. And you get to make it all pretty and enjoy it and see smiles and people that you're around. Like, there is so much more to eating than just nourishment. Like, we have to accept that and be okay with it. But it was really alarming. Food doesn't make you gain weight. But
right.
The reaction is, I can't trust you. I'm going to do a diet instead.
Right.
And I don't understand that.
So.
Right.
Yeah, I know. It's.
I'll trust the internet, though.
But we'll definitely trust the internet because the internet always tells us what we want to hear because that's what we look for.
Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's
Correct.
Factual or not.
I've definitely made money from people that I've given a solid, wonderful nutrition advice to on helping themselves, and they literally do none of it because they're looking for someone to tell them what they want to hear.
Right.
I don't understand that.
Right.
A, you don't need anyone to tell you how to think or pay money for that. But B, like, why would you want to do that? Like, I don't understand that.
Right.
It's very frustrating.
And that's the other thing too. Like when you're actually working with a professional like yourself or myself too, it's like we work together. It's actually a joint effort of, okay, what is your lifestyle? What is it that you're actually looking for? What is it that you feel like you're not feeling that you need to be feeling? And how can we make that happen for you too?
Why? Why do you feel like your tummy hurts all the time?
Right.
Why do you feel like you need to shrink yourself?
Right.
Why do you feel like you are whatever? You have headaches all the time. Like, you have to ask all of these questions, but the one important one that people don't want to get at is the why. Because we don't want to deal with those problems. And that ultimately is, in our, I would assume my opinion and your opinion, why we turn to diets and those quick fixes that give us a little bit of a high.
People like Band-Aids.
Yeah,
definitely.
I like Disney ones. I mean, if we're on the topic. Cures it all.
Yeah.
All right.
Signing off. Till next
guys.
time. Bye.